Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving into a topic today that actually connects 8th grade geometry with, well, the much bigger picture of how we live. We're going to see how mathematical rules aren't just boring steps you have to memorize. They're actually these incredibly powerful cheat codes that make math, and honestly, life itself, a whole lot easier. Let's get right into it.
Here's the quick blueprint for today. First, we'll look at why rules actually matter. Then we'll hit the dilation coordinate rule. After that, let's practice together, followed by your homework challenge, and finally we'll wrap up with education rooted in morality.
All right, Section 1. Why rules actually matter.
So, let's talk about fluency. If you've ever spent absolute ages plotting every single point of a shape on graph paper by hand, yeah, you know it's incredibly tedious. Mathematical fluency just means you know how to use rules as a literal life hack. It lets you solve those complex geometry problems without all that endless drawing. It basically makes transformations like dilations lightning fast and honestly, way more accurate.
And this whole concept of fluency actually points to a much larger truth, which is beautifully captured in Psalm 119, verse 160. All your words are true. All your righteous laws are eternal. Think about it. Just like we rely on those coordinate rules to keep our math perfectly accurate, as Christians, we rely on the eternal rules of God's Word to keep us steady. Rules aren't there to hold us back or restrict us. They're the ultimate guides to keep us right on track.
So why even bother mastering these procedures? Well, because they have massive real-world value. You aren't just learning this to pass an exam efficiently. You are literally learning the exact foundational skills used to program computer animations for your favorite video games or, to design massive architectural blueprints. These math procedures are quite literally the tools that build our modern world. How cool is that?
Moving right along to Section 2, the dilation coordinate rule.
Okay, here it is, your golden formula for dilations. The original coordinates, x and y, transform into kx, ky. And that k? That is the absolute star of the show. It stands for the scale factor. Think of it like a master dial that determines exactly how much bigger or how much smaller your shape is going to get.
And to actually apply this rule, we just follow a super simple 3-step procedure. Step 1, find your starting coordinate. Step 2, locate your k, that's your scale factor. And step 3, simply multiply both your x and your y by that k. Honestly, it really is that straightforward.
All right, Section 3, let's practice together. So, looking at our first example, let's say our starting original point is 3, 4, and our rule gives us a scale factor of 2. Applying that scale factor just means we take our original x and y coordinates and multiply them by 2. So 3 times 2, 4 times 2, and boom, that perfectly transforms 3, 4 into our new expanded image point, 6, 8.
Now for example 2, let's play detective for a second and work backward. If our original point is 5, 2, and it suddenly becomes the image point 10, 4, what exactly is the rule? Well, to get from 5 to 10 and 2 to 4, the math is pretty clear, right? We multiplied by 2. So that gives us our rule, 2x, 2y. See how logical that is when you break it down?
Finally, example 3 brilliantly shows us a reduction. So here, our original point is 8, negative 6. By multiplying our coordinates by 0.5, we shrink the shape perfectly. Half of 8 is 4, and half of negative 6 is negative 3. Just remember this rule of thumb. A scale factor less than 1 means your shape is always shrinking.
Now for Section 4, your homework challenge. Okay, here are 5 challenges to really test out your new fluency. Go ahead and just pause the explainer right here, grab a piece of scratch paper, work through these 5 questions using those 3 simple steps we just talked about, and whenever you're ready, just press play again. We'll be right here.
Welcome back. Let's wrap things up with Section 5, Education Rooted in Morality.
So, stepping back from the math for a second, we really have to ask ourselves a pretty pivotal question. What is the point of being smart if you just end up making bad choices? Really think about that. If we have all the mathematical tools in the absolute world, but we completely ignore the tools for living a good, moral life, what have we really gained? And that brings us directly to the core philosophy of the HeroesmartAcademy Godly Learners series. It's this idea that education, when intertwined with biblical morality, actually protects us. Because being highly educated while continuing to make bad life choices, that only leads to pain.
Simply put, education without morality is ultimately gonna hurt.
Consider this incredible promise in Romans chapter 8, verse 6. The mind governed by the Spirit is life and peace. It's amazing, really. Just as coordinate rules bring this beautiful order, predictability, and stability to our math, God promises profound peace of mind to everyone who keeps their mind anchored in spiritual truth. So as we close out this explainer today, I want to leave you with this one final thought. Are you using the rules you learn, both in geometry and in life, just to pass a temporary test? Or are you actually mastering them to build a lasting foundation of life and peace?